Welcome to the Grizzled Geek. I'm Mike.
I'm Doug.
And we're here with our spoiler review of, non-spoiler / spoiler review of Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes. Very little non-spoilery. Very much so.
All right. We just saw Spider-Man Far From Home with Kirsten, who couldn't make it here to film today.
Yeah.
But, hopefully we'll hear something from her. Well, what do we think? Was it a good movie, Doug?
Yes. Totally. Oh, sorry for everybody's ears who just had headphones on there. Anyways, yes, very good movie.
Very good movie. Would you say, how does it rank with the MCU movies? How does it compare to, we'll start with Far From Home. How does it compare to Far From Home? Not Far From Home, Homecoming.
Homecoming? Better.
Better than Homecoming?
In my opinion. Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
This is Guardians 1 level.
Ooh.
Actually, I think it's better than Guardians 1.
Wow. I was going to say, coming out of it, I thought you were like putting it up there as one of your favorites.
This is probably my fourth favorite MCU movie.
Wow.
I'm thinking. Roughly.
Is that behind all the spectacle movies?
No, it's probably behind Endgame, Thor Ragnarok, Winter Soldier. Well, flip Winter Soldier and Thor. Winter Soldier is still my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Followed by Endgame, followed by Thor Ragnarok, then probably this one.
So this one beats out
Infinity War, the original Avengers, all of it. I think it is a super good movie.
For me, nothing beats out the original Avengers movie, but just for different reasons. I'm sure there are better movies. I'm just, personally, I can't place them above that on my list. But I would say this was a really good movie. I mean, they took a C-level bad guy from the Spider-Man. Yeah. I mean, you look at it like when Sony did their Spider-Man movies, they had all the A-list bad guys. They had Green Goblin a couple times, right? Sandman, Venom. They had all these Dr. Octopus,
Right.
Yeah. And then Marvel gets Spider-Man, and they get like Vulture and Mysterio, two of the lower tier bad guys.
Yeah.
And they make amazing movies.
Yep.
With these guys and make them amazing characters. Mysterio in this movie is amazing. Jake Gyllenhaal is he's amazing. I will tell you what, this movie did a lot for me. I like Homecoming, don't get me wrong, but Homecoming for me wasn't very high on my list of like favorites of all time. I like Spider-Man. Yeah. Right. I liked him, but I wasn't quite sure about the rest of the world, all the changes they're making to this. Right. So. Yeah. I like Zendaya when it was revealed that she was MJ, right? I'm like, this is not Mary Jane, and she's not. She's not Mary Jane.
Yeah, right.
Right. And this movie, I have erased any doubt I had about.
Yeah.
Right.
The pairing is amazing.
She is awesome in this, and they're awesome together. Yeah. So whatever version of MJ they're doing, I'm all for it. You could say
the whole cast has great dynamic together, great chemistry together, and maybe this is a problem for diehard Spider-Man comic fans, but you have to divorce this from the comic book.
Yep.
There's so much about the Spider-Man in the MCU that has the core of Spider-Man, but is very different from the comic book Spider-Man.
Right.
So you're not going to have the same. He's still a teenager who's trying to find his way, who's dealing with being a teenager and being a hero, and how does that
those aspects really are played out in this movie.
Yeah, he's dealing with all kinds of teen angst, and he has a lot of the same characters in his life, but the relationships are all different. How he deals with everything is all different. His place in the wider world is all different. So you gotta kind of divorce MCU Spider-Man from comic book Spider-Man.
He's kind of a mix of in the comics, because before they rebooted Spider-Man, he got to a place where he was an Avenger basically, right? He was up there.
Well, he did join the Avengers eventually,
right?
Yeah.
But he was grown and he had access to superpowered people and technology and stuff like that. And then when he started out his career, he was young, broke teenager on his own.
Yeah.
Right. And this is kind of like a marrying of the two. Right.
Right.
You've got the young teenager, but he does obviously he's wearing Stark tech.
Right.
Out in the world. So, but yeah, it's the movie's really good. The cast is amazing in it. It's just, it for me, the movie flew by. There was no moments of drag.
Yeah, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, I think.
Yeah. I think
2 hours and 9 minutes. And it does not feel like that.
Yeah.
It hooks you, and you're just there the whole time. I mean, you're just riding along, and you're like, wow. At no point, I guess I've heard some people complain that the beginning of the movie is a little slow.
See, I really
but
like
that. I think it needs to be, and it does well at that because it
has to pick up after
tension.
Endgame.
Yeah, there's a little exposition that has to give you what's going on, and it just, I liked it. Can't get into spoiler, without getting into spoilers, I can't really explain why, but I think the pacing is fine.
Here's the thing: if you are just in it solely for the action, don't worry. There is plenty of action, some amazing action in this movie towards the end, and even all throughout the film. But But if you're a true fan of the character, this, all of it is great.
Yeah.
All the character interactions, Martin Starr is the teacher, the chaperone. Martin Starr and J.B. Smoove as the chaperones for this European trip are awesome. I mean, they're like, there's some great comedy in this. Just like any great MCU movie, there's great comedy and great action, and it's all done in honor of the character, honoring who that character is from the comics. So I have no problem with this. The pacing of this movie, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing several times. It's a Spider-Man movie. Kind of have to. But I mean, and I'm not alone. It got 2 days worth of reviews now, and it's sitting at 92% in Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So people that see this movie like this movie. So, and we've heard the early reviews from the critics. Critics love it too. Right. So. Yeah, it's got everything you want in a Marvel movie and a Spider-Man movie.
It's interesting. Its Metacritic score is kind of low, though.
Yeah, what was that, 69?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure why. Or what all that includes, but
yeah, I know. I don't know. It's not a controversial movie at all. I don't know what the deal is, but it's got some great things. It's got some great surprises. So, if you haven't seen this movie, obviously, go check it out. Highly recommend it. What would you rate this movie, Doug?
I'm going to give this a 9.
9?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's a super solid movie.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the perfect movie for ending the first 3 phases.
Yeah.
And I know now why they're like, this is the end.
This is the end of it. Yeah.
3.
Well, you'll know by the end of the whole thing. This is a perfect capper to basically the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. 3 phases. Who knows where it's going forward from that, because it's breaking with the formula and going off on its own stuff. So, but this is the last in that, was it 21, 22 movies?
With this, I guess it would be 22.
22. Wow. That's a
that's
a lot of hits right there.
Yep.
But yeah, I would give it an 8.5. So 9, 8.5, still it's a very, very high score. So check it out, Spider-Man Far From Home, awesome movie. And now, so if you haven't seen the movie, go check it out and then come back and watch the rest of this. If you have, we're jumping into spoilers here, so here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Well, man, do they shake things up with this movie.
Yeah, there's definitely, okay. First off, let's go ahead and hit the primary one that Mike is actually already spoiled and wasn't paying attention. Mysterio is actually a villain. Oh. He is the antagonist of the movie.
If you didn't know that, you're not a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, So they didn't pull a switcheroo and go, oh, no, actually he's a good guy in this,
Yeah, no.
He's
a villain.
Yeah, he is the villain.
Here's the thing. They did an amazing job pulling the wool over your eyes. All right, here's the big flip that they had everybody talking about before this movie was all about the multiverse, right? They mentioned in the trailers the multiverse. They mentioned, the 616. They had us doing it. We were talking about it.
Right.
And everyone is speculating about what that means because it was touched on before. It wasn't like it was just for this movie. The multiverse was touched on before. Now we're like, oh, man, this opens up all kinds of possibilities. Right. They had everybody talking about it. No multiverse, folks. He's from our world.
Yep.
He's a con man. It's all illusions, just like it is in the comics.
And I love, well, he's a con man, But I like his background in this better than in the comics. Because in the comics, he's an out-of-work actor who just stumbles upon this tech.
But they touch on that whole prima donna actor kind of aspect of him as well, too.
They do, but his actual background is really cool. I like the fact that, you know, like everybody who's in the bad guy club in this movie are all former Stark employees who feel done wrong by Stark.
Which also seems like kind of a theme with Spider-Man, people that are pissed off at Stark.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, but that's the way Vulture was. And
yep. So it's, you know, he was the one who invented the Barth tech. Whatever that stood for, I can't even remember now. The holographic technology.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of added him into that scene, like he's off stage. You know, and then the guy who Obadiah Stane yells at and says, you know, that Iron Man, that Tony Stark invented the arc reactor in the.
That's Ralphie from A Christmas Story. Yeah. That's little Ralphie.
Yeah, so he's in it.
He's fat and bald now.
And then a bunch of other people that are, I believe, in various scenes. That they kind of.
They take those background characters that were in other Iron Man movies.
Yeah.
And then bring them forward.
Yeah.
And now they're just the bad guy team, his technical team, because he does everything with drones.
Yeah, so it's all holographic illusions.
Yeah,
done with drones. It's very cool.
Yeah. So there's actual damage when these things appear. It's done by
the drones.
Yeah.
You know, shooting stuff or whatever. So
right. So it's it's really great. So one thing I'm a little bit disappointed of, but I understand why they did it. They cut out the entire heist scene in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So that big chunk of the trailer, which is him when he's going to get his passport,
right,
and webbing up those guys, talking to the cops.
Yep.
That whole scene, it was actually setting up a crime family in New York, kind of post blip. I guess I call it a blip.
Yeah.
The disappearance.
What they went with instead was much better.
Yeah, I can understand.
It was hilarious. It's the like the teen production of a tribute to Iron Man.
Yeah.
It was so good.
With the
high school news. It was
completely like the hokey. I mean, like, you know, the cheesy looking green screen effects where they put everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Photoshop 101 collages put together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. They jumped right into it. So they addressed the fact that some students have aged 5 years and some haven't.
Yep.
Because the new love interest for MJ, it was a little kid when they disappeared.
Yeah.
And now he's, you know, grown up and in the same class. So yeah, it was
which they established. I mean, which based on that, pretty much everybody in the science group that was from the first movie, they all blipped.
Right.
So none of them aged.
At least the core group.
The core group. Yeah. They are all there.
I think there was a lot more on that field trip to Washington, D.C.
Like Flash and his buddy, what's his buddy's name? Ned. And MJ and the blonde girl whose name is it Betty? Betty.
That's
Betty Brant.
Yeah,
is that who
Betty Brant.
he's supposed to be? Yeah. So they are all the same age. They all blipped, so they are all the same age.
Yeah.
They addressed the fact in the first little like 10, 15 minutes, you get a bunch of kind of like, this is what's the effect of the snap.
Yeah.
Has been, you know,
like in fact, that scene in the trailer where Happy's bringing a check and Spider-Man's talking to the crowd.
Yeah. That's
a fundraiser for people displaced by the blip.
Yeah, they're homeless now.
They're homeless. And Aunt May talks about appearing in her apartment and scaring an old lady when she came back from the blip.
Yeah.
So yeah, they address it. They address it. They talk about it. There was a big memorial thing for all the fallen heroes.
Yep.
So.
And I got to say, I like Aunt May knowing that he's Spider-Man and supporting him as Spider-Man.
I didn't think I'd like that when I first reviewed the last movie. I was like,
I thought that worked really well because it played into a few jokes.
Yeah.
With his Peter Tingle.
Peter Tingle. Call it SpiderSense.
It's SpiderSense's Peter Tingle.
Yeah. So all the people arguing, I didn't realize it was this big a debate. There was a big debate whether or not he actually had SpiderSense or not, right? Because the first movie didn't address it, right?
Yeah. And Infinity War pretty clearly addressed it.
Yeah. So, the hairs on his arm stood up. He knew there was something going on before it happened.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that he can react so quickly, he's got to have some kind of sixth sense. But he actually learns to control it really well
Yeah.
in this movie. And yeah, she calls it his Peter Tingle.
He does it. Aunt May does.
Yeah.
And he hates it.
Yeah.
And then Happy,
Or who wouldn't hate
Happy
it?
picks it up as well.
Here's your Peter Tingle. Yeah. So yeah, awesome.
it was really
hilarious.
So.
This trip. So yeah, they have Jake Gyllenhaal, who I'm not a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I recognize his talent, first off. I just don't particularly like him or the movies he's in.
Yeah, I just don't watch those type of movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I've ever. I'm sure I've seen him in a movie, but I can't think of one off my top.
You ever saw Prince of Persia?
Nope, never saw.
Well, okay, good for you.
It looked horrible, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way to watch horrible movies like you and your son.
I've seen pretty much all of his movies, but just mainly because of my son. But he tends to do those indie, you know, weird films. So, but I mean, yeah, it's like, but he was great in this movie. Mysterio, they do everything right with Mysterio, man. They got the helmet. They got, you know.
Yeah, he uses the helmet.
Yeah.
He's got the fog powers.
Yeah.
They use the illusions really well.
They got the attitude of Quentin Beck from the comics. He wants to kill a hero and be famous, right? But he's very, if you read the comics, he's very, you know, pretty much businesslike with what his plans, right? This is that, and you get a whole sense of that in this movie too, where when he decides to kill Peter Parker, right?
Yeah.
It's not that he wants to. It's not personal. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
In fact, he tells, because the other guy screwed up. I was like, if I have to kill Peter Parker, his blood's on your hands.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, he's just, the character's spot on and interesting, not just a, you know, two-dimensional, you know,
Right.
mustache twisting bad guy. And they set him up really well. Nick Fury and Maria Hill are used very well in this movie, instead of just like, you know, I mean, granted, they are in the background, but usually they're just window dressing, background support.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they show up to deliver some information or whatnot. But Nick Fury especially has, you know, is a major part of this movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, especially at the post-credit scenes.
we'll get to the post-credit scenes, both of which you need to watch.
Yeah, you have to stay and watch them. They're pretty crucial.
In fact, the first one changes this movie. Oop, now I'm doing. Now I'm hitting the mic. Yeah, it changes the movie because, wow, we'll get to the ending here in a minute. But all right, so yeah, it's the travel around different locations. He sets them up. Peter hands over his newfound Stark tech that he got. He inherited basically to Quentin Beck, because the whole story is him struggling with wanting to be a kid, reconciling his life as a kid versus life of a superhero, right? And we all know in the end, because he is who he is, and with great power comes great responsibility, he's going to pick the hero route.
Right.
But, you know, this, you really get to see the struggle of what it's costing him, right?
Yep.
You know, as a kid, and you're like, oh man, you realize, you take it for granted with Spider-Man. You take it for granted that he's like, oh, he's always going to do the right thing. He's always going to pick, you know, being a hero over being a kid.
Yeah, this goes back to the early days where
Yeah.
he's really struggling with he wants, you know, a normal life.
Yep.
He's interested in MJ, wants
Yep.
to pursue that, and then things keep getting in the way.
Yeah.
So
The whole love triangle between him, MJ, and the new kid is pretty good. So,
yeah.
all right. Well, I mean, what do you what stands out to you?
The relationship part, the teen drama actually is some of the best stuff in the movie. Him trying to just be a teenager,
Yeah.
and trying to further his relationship with MJ is very interesting, very well done. Tom Holland and Zendaya have great chemistry. She plays that character very well.
Yeah.
You really kind of identify with the character. So,
Especially when, you know, you're looking at the first movie, she's very just kind of withdrawn, and you're like, why does she act like this? Why is she, you know? And then they do a lot of explaining that character in this movie, and you can see it on her face. You know, you can tell that stuff she's saying is an act, right? She's putting up a wall, you know, and this.
there is a pretty funny scene towards the end of the movie where Happy, MJ, Ned, and Betty all get trapped together, and the drones are coming to kill them, and they all start making confessions. And she's like, I have a compulsion to tell the truth, no matter if it hurts people or not. And I forget what the others are.
Yeah.
And then Happy's like, I love Spider-Man's aunt.
I love Spider-Man.
Everybody else is looking at him like,
Like,
what?
"Well, I thought we were sharing."
I thought we were sharing.
It's hilarious. The
It's
movie's
good.
great. Yeah,
Everybody in this movie
Zendaya
is
is great.
great. Yeah.
The only thing, I mean, the whole Ned Betty relationship here started to border on annoying with the whole, all the cutesy. They played up the whole cutesy, teen love thing, almost to the point. Didn't quite get there, right? And it ended, at the end of the trip. It was just like a summer fling thing,
Yeah.
right? Which was fine. I have no problem with it. I was saying if I had any issue, that was starting to border on that. If it was one more like, I love you, babe. No, I love you.
Yeah, well,
That might have been over the edge.
yeah, it was supposed to be though.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
it was, but and we get that through the movie. But yeah, it's. I think they push it right up to the edge as far as
Right.
they'd go with it from being annoying.
Yep.
And that was fine. So, which I guess isn't really criticism if it was okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But in fact, I'm hard pressed to think of anything that I didn't like about the movie. Once you get past the fact that they've changed the characters, right?
Yeah, the characters are a bit different than they are in the comics.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to deal with that.
And I'm like, he's a struggling teen, but he's got access. He basically inherited Stark Tech, right? And he's got someone with a private jet and his beck and call.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got the hookup, but like Spider-Man's character, he doesn't abuse these things.
Right.
He doesn't have
Yeah. And that is the end. You never really get explained, but he gets access to Edith, which is great. It's got the acronym even dead, I'm still the hero.
Yeah, even then I'm still the hero.
That's what Edith stands for. Stark named it. So he gets access to this essentially Friday / Jarvis AI that controls like all of Stark's like Earth protection, including military satellites with
Yeah.
all these drones in it, which you never really get a sense of, okay, what does this mean? I mean, because Pepper is still the CEO of Stark Industries.
right.
Peter doesn't work for Stark Industries.
I think it's all the secret
He
weapon
doesn't-
tech stuff that he
Yeah.
has on the side. It's
He
not
doesn't
part
get
of
like Iron Man armor that he can summon to him.
No.
He doesn't have any of the the nanotech or anything like that.
Well, he does have the nano suit.
But yeah, he has.
In a case at home.
That's true. He has the one that he got
So,
from Stark.
He's got his original
Infinity
suit.
War.
He's got the nanotech Iron Spider suit. And then he makes him a new suit at the end with Stark Tech. And apparently Stark designed several suits for him, several which will be familiar to people when the little Easter egg scene as he's making his
Yeah.
last suit. He's scrolling through the different ones Stark has for him. And the ones I recognized was they had one that looked like Spider-Man 2099 in there.
Mm-hmm.
They had the one from the video game, the recent video game in there.
Oh, okay.
They had, so there was several different versions of the Spider-Man suit that
Got it.
Stark has programmed in the machine that aren't actually made yet, but
Right. Yeah.
so he picks one out to build because his suit gets messed up. I like the fact that he gets hurt in this, just like he does in the comics. People always confuse super strength with invulnerability, but it's just because he can lift a car doesn't mean he can't take. He can take more.
Yeah, there is a certain amount of
Yeah.
invulnerability that comes with super strength.
Yeah.
If you did not have super,
You couldn't punch anything.
if you were invulnerable, if you punched a wall,
You break your
you'd
hand.
break your hand every time.
Right. So there's some level of it, but he's not. It's not like super resistant. He's not like Thor, the Hulk that can take bullets and
Yeah.
bullets still hurt him.
Well, he does get shot when he's wearing the
The stealth suit. But he
monkey suit, the monkey suit, the
has-
night monkey
night
suit.
monkey suit. Yeah, that's what the.
That's what Ned calls it. And then the
then-
news picks it up.
So in Europe, the stealth suit is the night monkey.
The night monkey. But yeah, that.
But
that
he's
was
wearing
made,
Kevlar though. It's
Yeah, that was made by Shield. So
Yeah.
they, Nick Fury and whatever his rebuilding of Shield.
Right.
So when he gets shot with that, it doesn't penetrate the Kevlar. So
Right. It does beg the question when he's asked about where the Avengers, because the Avengers are pretty much no more, right? I mean, they're all gone. You have what do you have left? Is you have what?
in theory, the Hulk is still around, probably still recovering from the Infinity Gauntlet. You've got Winter Soldier and then,
War Machine, but they're both. But okay, War Machine works for the government. Winter Soldier's wanted,
Yep.
So like Falcon and Winter Soldier are still technically, just because people disappeared, they weren't being hunted, but technically by law,
they're not.
They're still fugitives.
According to the Sokovia Accords, if those are still in effect, they're
still fugitives.
Although, probably, because they were dead. They were blipped the whole time, or snapped the whole time that they were doing all their stuff. So Barton's retired.
Yep.
As far as we know, it seems.
Right.
So nobody else, so Scarlet Witch, and also on the lam.
Yeah.
So nobody who was a official.
You get the Hulk
Avenger.
and War Machine.
The Hulk and War Machine. That's it.
Yeah.
And so how are they going to get them to Europe? I guess So
So
there isn't really. So when he goes, so a lot of people are like, well,
everybody else is in space.
That's awfully convenient that nobody's around. Well, they just aren't.
Yeah, they explain it.
Or they are on. They're not officially sanctioned. That probably wouldn't stop Fury.
Yeah, probably he'd free to use them anyway.
But
yeah,
I don't know that
getting a hold of these guys.
Trust Bucky, but
yeah, I don't know if you get Bucky or Falcon to do this, because I don't know what Falcon would do to these things. With the illusions.
Yeah. Well,
the way they were. I was going into it like, what do they need Spider-Man? What's he going to do? When he actually fought them, it was actually, you can see how useful he was.
Yeah.
So, with giant lava monster, what's Spider-Man going to do? But he does. He holds his own. So, all right. So there you have it, guys. There's not really any downside of this. Let's get into the ending of the movie, because it ends on a happy note. Him and Mary Jane are
MJ, not Mary Jane.
Not Mary Jane. MJ.
It's Michelle or something.
Yeah, Michelle something, yeah. Is they're a thing now. So Hogan and Happy and his aunt are kind of went up in the air.
Yes. It was a pretty funny scene. With so what's going on here? And like, are you guys together? And he says yes, and she says no. So it was very interesting.
She's like, oh, that was a summer fling or whatever, But who knows? We're so friendly, blah, blah, blah. So they get into conversation. So we don't know what's going on with that. So everything's good until the first cutscene. So it ends on a happy note. We got a happy ending for a Spider-Man movie. Then the mid-credit scene rolls in where, he's, because it ends with him swinging with MJ.
Yep.
And she's, unlike every other incarnation of her, she's terrified of being flown around.
Or not flown around, swung
around on which would be terrifying.
Yeah. So let's never do that again.
And he's getting ready to leave, and then on the air, newsflash from dailybugle.net, right?
Yeah.
This conspiracy theory. And we get J. Jonah Jameson with footage, because at the end when Quentin Beck dies, there's some footage. Spider-Man says, execute them all. He's talking about the drones program.
Yeah.
But he filmed it in such a way to frame Spider-Man for his death, all the damage and everything like that. And then he outed Peter Parker.
Yep.
He basically gave away his identity. He didn't get the I am Iron Man moment. He got taken from him. Mm-hmm. So, and that's how that ends. But that's not the biggest. Well, that's a big surprise too. But the fact that they got J.K. Simmons to come back and play, the greatest and the only really. Who else? Who could they get to replace him? We speculated about that.
Yeah, no,
he is J. Jonah Jameson. So
he is so good.
So J. Jonah Jameson, awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us about the last.
So it was a good kind of slow reveal. It's got Nick Fury and Maria Hill driving a car, and it looks like they're being tailed. Yeah. So at first you think this is because he kind of leans into the mirror, and you think, oh, he's noticing somebody tailing them, something's going on, and they're chatting about something. I don't remember about what's happened and stuff like that. And then
about making a phone call. Are you gonna call?
Well,
them?
not yet.
Oh, they're
you're gonna call them or something like that, or this didn't go right.
Yeah,
or it didn't go expect. And then it kind of pulls out from Nick, like looking back in the rearview mirror, pulls out Maria Hill is turned into a Skrull, and you're like, oh crap, did they replace her? What's going on with this? And then he's like, no, I don't want to bug you. Like, Holly kind of needs to know this was a big screw up or something. So then he turns into a Skrull.
Yeah, not just any Skrull. It's
Talos. Talos from Captain Marvel. So he makes a phone call.
Talos and his wife.
Yeah. So he makes a phone call and starts kind of, like, oh, yeah, hey, everything turned out okay.
We gave the glasses to the kid, like
he
you told us to.
Yeah, he goes through the whole spiel, and you can tell, like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
He's talking to somebody important. It turns out he's talking to Nick Fury,
Yeah.
who's hanging out on a Skrull spaceship
Yeah.
someplace in space. Like, relaxing, like he's on vacation.
Yeah.
And then... yeah, he heads out and goes, hey, all
Back
right,
to
we
work.
got to get back to work. Where are my shoes?
So how much he's like on a holographic beach scene in a ship.
So
Yeah. So he's got some kind of big thing going on.
yeah, something with the Skrulls.
Some organization going on because there was a lot of stuff going on in that ship when it pans out. So
Yep.
he's in space doing some stuff.
Yeah, so it's unclear when the Skrulls took over.
This would be when S.H.I.E.L.D. turns to sword.
Oh, maybe.
Could be this.
Well, it
space
doesn't
version.
turn into Sword.
Well,
they split.
They split. Yeah.
And then isn't he? I believe Maria Hill's in charge of Sword, right?
Yeah.
And then okay. So
In the comics, anyway.
in the comics, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that's what they do.
Because that's a space version of the Shield.
Yeah.
Shield. So, wow, yeah. So both have major implications going forward. This is not just a simple.
Yeah, the
here's
Skrulls aren't one and done.
Yeah.
They're around for the long haul.
Yep. So this isn't one of those, oh, here's a snippet from the next movie or, some random thing like ant drum playing drums or something like that.
Right.
This is significant, pieces. So
Yeah.
well, you
And
have
it's
it.
interesting that they're staying with the Skrulls are good guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
That's a cool.
I mean, I like that there are certain things that you can mix up and it doesn't ruin the,
Right.
if you change who certain heroes are or whatever fundamentally, then that can ruin the movie. But if you change a whole race and go, yeah, I mean, the Skrulls are kind of generic space bad guys, number
Yeah,
one.
I was gonna say,
why not change, be
That's
a
not
little
a
more.
super scroll. They're basically just generic. They're
just
like
people,
They're like
yeah.
the Chitauri, only can change shape.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think it's cool that they're kind of subverting expectations and going good guys with the Skrull. I think that's fun.
This is a good way to subvert expectations.
Yep.
All around.
Yeah. I think it's fun. So
And it's very rare that movies nowadays can actually get me like this. I did not see, some of the twists.
now, as long as they don't turn this into a get out of jail free, it was just a Skrull impersonating him. That guy didn't really die.
Yeah.
That, dangerous ground, but I think it'll be fine.
Right. Use it sparingly and only when it's really important. All right, guys. There you have it. Spider-Man Far From Home. Worth the ticket price.
Definitely.
Go see this movie.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. Because, it's also one of the first ones that I want to go back and see again, right?
Yeah.
Especially after you know all the twists, go back and check it out again. So,
Yep.
if you want to support the channel and the things we do here, please, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. We're trying to get push for more subscribers.
Yep.
Ring that bell to get notifications. And if you want to support us financially and help us run this show, Doug, how can they help us?
Check out the 3 links in our description down below to our Teespring store, our Amazon affiliate link, and Patreon, all of which you can use to support us.
True. And we'll see you next time with another movie review. Bye.